Hello and welcome to Oregon. We're going to do the dirty hoe. I have been struggling the last 2 days trying to get this video thing all squared away, and it's just been one big pain in the non-techie world in which I live. Crazy. Alright, so a couple things I discovered. My videos can't be more than 15 minutes, which I probably shouldn't have them that long anyway, just because I don't want to bore you to death. And so I'm just going to wing her here and see how many parts we get. There's some things I want to talk to you about, and I'm just going to go for it. So here we go. The dirty hoe. I love that name. Anyway, this video is part 1. It's going to be the materials used in the video. Let's get started. Okay, we're going to use a copper cone head, a 26 millimeter round eye aquafly shank. We are going to also be using 50-pound Power Pro. Okay, on a number 2 Aquafly's Talon Jerry French designed hook. The overall length of this fly is going to be about 3.5 inches. Okay, that's what we're shooting for. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. I think 3.5 is good. Too big, you can't cast them. Too small, you know, gotta play with it. Anyway, let's show you the materials we're going to be using as we tie it from back to front. The very first thing we're going to use for our dubbing ball or intruder bump or whatever you want to call it is our Senyo laser dub in fluorescent fuchsia. After we get a nice little tight ball on the back there, we're going to be using 3 strands on half of one side of the red crystal, or red crinkle flash from Cascade Crest Tools. Now remember, we don't have any fancy editing equipment yet. And if I make a boo-boo or a crazy comment or I cuss or I break my thread, you're going to see it. So, welcome to my world. After we get done tying in the crinkle flash, love that crinkle flash. Got a lot of colors in it. It's really good stuff. Really good. We're going to be using the Crazy Legs. Alright. It is salmon pink with a hot tipped pink ends on it. I like it a lot. Let me show you. It's clear in the middle. Okay. And hot pink on the end, baby. Really looks good. I like it. Okay. After we get done with all that, we're going to come in with this bunny strip that I've done some homework to. This bunny strip I've taken and barred the hide underneath, and I've also bled the black into the white on the sides there so that you can get a little bit better effect. I really believe it's worth the extra time and effort to do that to your bunny strip, so that it looks good, and a fly that looks good you're confident in, and a fly that you're confident in you fish well. So after we get done doing that, I have another, this next step is optional. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. Jungle cock. At this time, I'd tie in a piece of jungle cock about where I need it to be. And then from there, we would then come in, after all that's on, with the composite loop. Okay? Now I have pre-built a composite loop that's sitting right here on my card. Let's talk about those materials. Remember, a composite loop is materials like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Piece of bread, peanut butter and jelly, which is the materials. Well, the piece of bread would be your dubbing. The materials are your peanut butter and jelly, and then another piece of bread, which is dubbing. It's a sandwich. It's layered. But not only is it layered, it has a top, a middle, and a bottom. Okay? And as you wrap that onto your fly, the bottom, the middle, and the top all come together to create that composite loop. All right? Now, so the dubbing that I'm using for the scrim, or the base layer, or the first piece of bread on my peanut butter and jelly sandwich, is this Fly Tires Dungeon UVX ET dubbing. I like this out of the bag. It's very sparse. It's tiny to begin with, and I really like this a lot. Good stuff. Check out Fly Tires Dungeon. They're really coming into it with if you're composite loop, synthetic, swinger, Skagit, intruder dude, they got some good stuff for us. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to lay in some Senyo Predator wrap. Love this stuff. This is good stuff. Lots of different colors, but this particular color is, it actually looks red. Well, it comes across pink, but it looks more red on the card, but, and I think it is red if you look up the color. Anyway. Then after that, we're going to come in with some Pro Sport Fisher possum, hot pink possum fur. And let me tell you, I really am digging this for my composite loops. I like this a lot. On top of that hair, I'm going to put a little copper accent to kind of complement the copper cone head. And I'm using today UV Polar Chenille UV copper. Now, I want to tell you that I'm not keeping it on the little string. We'll talk about that here later, but in part one here, where we're just discussing materials in the fly itself, I will be cutting this off of that little rope that it's on. Putting it right on top of the hair. Then, another Fly Tires Dungeon product, Crystal Web in hot pink. I'm going to lay this down below the hair on the scrim, and then I'm going to put on top of it, I'm going to put my pink ostrich. Okay? And this amount, this is the one I tied yesterday. This is the one I selected for this fly. They're about the same. It's about an inch worth of ostrich, and I'm guessing it's 3 inches long, maybe. Okay? Now, let's talk about the fly itself for a moment. This is the one I tied yesterday that I tried to make the video on that was giving me a hassle, and I couldn't get it uploaded, and I was pulling my hair out. It was not a good day. It was not a good morning. Hopefully it'll be a better evening. Here is the Dirty Hoe. Okay? There it is. So that's what we're after today. It's got everything we just discussed. One more product I think I forgot to tell you about that's in the composite loop. Yeah. Is this Ripple Ice Fiber Minnow Mix. This is kind of a unique thing that I do that I don't see anybody else doing. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'll take some scrims of this, so very small, sparse amounts. That's what I mean by that. And just, I'm laying it over from the top to the bottom in very little sparse places. And it's 2.5 inches long over the whole thing. It really is a wonderful complement to the composite loop when it's all tied up and dried with the blow dryer, and it really is nice. You may be able to see a little bit yeah, there's quite a bit of that. Well, you'll see. This particular, you can see that the fly is, the hook is hanging down because I have not twisted hitched the tail yet. And let me tell you something, the twisted hitch, Jerry French will tell you that I am not a big fan of it, only because I'm not good at it. It doesn't mean it shouldn't be done. Some guys would argue that maybe it does, it messes with the undulation of the tail and all that other stuff, but I think for less hang-ups, if you twisted hitch it, it's good. I've seen Bruce Berry even tie a tiny piece of tubing on the bottom and stick it into the tubing. I'm not a big fan of that one myself. I just think that's too much weight on the tail. And then my good old buddy Johnny Hazlitt, he just lets it hang down like that. He don't care. He doesn't twist it, hitch it. He doesn't put it in a tube. He's just a hang down. All right. If you use the fire line in the Crystal 30-pound, that line is quite a bit stiffer, so it wouldn't be such a severe hang down like this one is. Almost it's vertical, and the Crystal, it's going to be sticking out a little bit, probably. I'm guessing it won't be as floppy, if you will. Okay, well, I have to keep my videos in the parts, and I have to keep them down below 15 minutes, and so I'm just going to end this part 1, materials used for the Dirty Hoe, right now, and I'm going to come right back in here on part 2, and we are going to tie the Dirty Hoe. All right, see ya in part 2.